Two things I like about playing Ninja in Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier is that they have the ability to wall climb twice, but not only that, if they land from a very high place or maybe after using Aeroga, they have the ability to cancel the landing animation. What's up guys, Master Penguin here, welcome back to the channel. So in these videos, we're gonna break down Ninja, their stats, their cooldown, the upgrades, and overall everything, and what other tips and tricks I can provide to you in these videos. This tip is more to beginners who started out in this game, trying to figure out how to maximize Ninja's full potential. Now, unlike Sorcerer and Warrior who has very high DPS, Sorcerer who has very high MP spam to deal more DPS, Ninja is more of a mobility type where they have a lot of survivability and then, deal damage over time. Okay, let's start out over. We're gonna talk about what is Ninja's kit first before we go to melee and what are the strategy plays I can cover for you. So let's go on with the first one. Dread Acrobat allows you to jump again mid-jump or after falling from parkour. Now, double jump is very useful for avoiding attack or make people predict which direction you will go, but it's also very good for arrow landing cancel animation as we said in the videos. So before landing down from a very high place or after using an arrow, you have to make sure that you don't do double jump at a very high place. So when you're almost landing, you can actually do a front flip to cancel the landing animation. Not only that, double wall climb, like we said, you'll be able to double wall climb, which helps you save MP instead of using arrow. And then the double wall climb is also very useful if you have Blade Shift. We're going to be covering Blade Shift later. Now, the double jump is also very useful as a counter against Warrior, as sometimes Warrior cannot get to the platform, but in an open space, Warrior might get you, but in a construction site with a lot of platform around, then you can use those at your advantages. Every time you double jump, it will trigger a front flip, but if you use a weapon while firing, the front flip will be gone. So if you want to trigger the front flip again, you actually have to swap your weapon and then front flip and then shoot again, depending on how you want to play. But if you want that front flip, you have to swap your weapon. Why do you want to do a front flip? It's hard for your opponent to aim, and it is also very cool. Now we are gonna cover the abilities. So the first ability that you'll have to use until level 10, and it's probably beginner's problem, because height is not as useful as Blade Shift. So what height does is that it actually turns you invisibility for a short amount of time, but while you're invisible, you cannot attack, you cannot use materials, you cannot use items. So basically you can't do anything, and while you're invisible, there's actually still a visible green light where your opponent can still know where you're going. So for beginners out there, you're gonna be stuck with using these skills, but this ability is actually not useless, especially when you're having a sniper battle. And whenever people know a sniper location, sniper's priority is to always change your location, and this is very useful to prevent them from seeing you, but again, you're still a visible light. Now, leveling up height actually decreases the cooldown, but for duration, for whatever level it is, you're actually turned invisible for around 10 seconds, and the casting time is actually 1 second. Now the downside about this is that the cooldown starts after the invisibility. The downside for this is that the cooldown starts only after the invisibility is over. Choco still has a target lock on you when you're a green light, so that's also a bad thing about the skill. So I don't see that there's any good thing to use this skill unless you're using it as a sniper battle. But again, in a final phase, this skill can be not very useful. Blade Shift. If you watch Kingsglaive, Warp Strike, you love this technique. So we're going to talk about how to use Blade Shift. So basically Blade Shift instantly moves you to where you throw your knife. But if you fail, if you miss, you're going to go through a 30 seconds cooldown, or depending on level, 30 seconds, 35, 25. Here's the cooldown on the screen I'm showing right here. And if you try to throw the knife at an opponent, it actually deals 30 damage. Is it worth it though? No, 30 damage is not a lot. You can actually just try to shoot them. So unless you run out of ammo or you just want to pull a crazy stun, I don't think it's worth throwing at your opponent. What if they move around? What it means you're gonna trigger another, very long cooldown. Now, how much distance can the knife reach? So the distance is 30 meters. You can actually see that spherical thing right there. It shows that you're guaranteed a hit. Now, I don't recommend you throwing these at 30 meters. I recommend you throwing these at 29 meters. And how do you know if your location is actually the location that you want to throw at is actually 29 meters? Now, you can actually mark your target. Instead of holding it, you can actually mark this button I'm showing it right here on the screen. You can double tap it and it can mark your location and what are the distance. So this is one way to use Blade Shift. You want to make sure that you're in 29 seconds before throwing the knife. Now, there's a lot of strategies to actually play Blade Shift. Sometimes, final phase, you want to go to higher buildings to have the high ground. And for this scenario over here, I'm actually passing through a gravity, and while my opponent is distracted. So inside the building, like someone is, firing at the windows, you can actually Blade Shift it maybe you appear behind them and just stab them. So it's very useful. You don't want to use hide, you want to use blade shift, alright? And it's a very good replacement for arrow to save mana points instead of MP. So does this mean that you're telling me, Pendragon, that I'm not supposed to carry arrow? Not exactly. If you're around construction site, then blade shift is very useful. If you're around open field, then you might want to carry arrow to keep that mobility and moving around. Now next up, the one I want to cover is skills. So there's 3 skills here. We got retreat, we got lightfoot, we got escapist. Now you probably will read them, and I'm gonna place a table right here where you can see that actually retreat is the one that you want to go. First of all, you receive damage, you move very fast for 5 seconds at level 1, 6 seconds for level 2, and then level 3 for 8 seconds. Now this is something very useful, but again, 8% is not a lot. With AoE attack, you can still get hit. So I don't really know. Maybe you want to go with Lightfoot, you want to be stealthy, go ahead. But all of the 3 skills right here is very subjective. Escapist is moving speed in hazard zone, but in this game, right, you want to stay out of the hazard zone as much as possible. Out of PUBG and all the other game, the hazard zone in this game is probably one of the most insane ones. So I would recommend you to, go for with retreat or Lightfoot. So I haven't done the research for the other one because I felt like retreat is actually the best one to go with. Now the next question is Ninja's melee attack worth leveling up? Now I'm gonna show you a table right here showcasing how much the damage dealt. It's actually quite a lot. At level 1 it actually deals a damage of 58 in total, level 2 69, and level 3 84. But the only reason why I don't recommend upgrading first is because you want to keep your juice to revive your ally. But not only that, the reason why I prioritize like that, like save enough juice to revive your ally first, is because the animation is a little bit slow while the damage is actually quite high. Now notice that the jump attack and the second attack actually deals the same damage, so just pointing that out. Over here, I'm gonna talk about the recommendation build for Ninja. So weapon wise, I take that bomb launcher is very useful for sorcerer and ninja. It's because ninja has double jump. You'll be able to keep your distance while prevent yourself from taking damage from bomb. But if you have shuddering, that's a different story. But you still want to avoid taking damage from or avoid that knockback. Acrobat to keep the distance, it is very useful. Material wise, I recommend you carry fire for mid and long range, while bomb launchers for close range, very useful. I don't know how to state how useful it is anymore. Blind to counter warrior. If you're having a hard time with warrior, now warrior has target lock on, right? When they lock on, they'll be able to slash you. So if you haven't noticed, if you're playing warrior and you're being casted blind, you're actually unable to trigger the target lock on dash attack. Blizzard bind if you want, but again, Blizzard is high MP cost, Thunder as well. Thunder is also a very high MP cost, but if I have to choose between Blizzard and Thunder, I would go with Blizzard because Blizzard actually fights your opponent, while Thunder actually sits in one location, so Blizzard for the win. Arrow, if you're not in an open area, if you're in an open area, then you might want to go with Arrow. If you're not, then around construction site, you can actually just use Blade Shift as a replacement. Bio again only costs 1 MP, penetrate through wall. So in close range combat, you're probably gonna lose to warrior inside a building or inside a house. So Bio is a good compensation unless they have jewel pendant. So you don't know. So is Bio still worth carrying, knowing that most players are gonna be carrying jewel pendant? Accessory Foresight Ring. Now the reason I say that why Foresight Ring is very important for Ninja only till the mid game is because whether or not you want to carry arrows, because arrow high MP cost. So do you want to carry it? Because Blade Shift sometimes make a very good replacement. So if you're in an open area, carry arrow. If you're not in an open area around buildings, Blade Shift is still a very good replacement. Shattering, to counter bomb launcher, even yourself, jewel pendant to counter poison. Those are like the end game build nowadays. So for Chocobo breed, I recommend speed and jump, and that's because you want to trigger a dismount, double jump, and then Firaga. Again, you can also board your teammates and then try to dismount and double jump. Unlike warrior and sorcerer, you can actually dismount double jump with ninja, which gives you that really good distance to still have the time to aim. I also forgot to mention that Blade Shift, as you level up, the distance is actually still the same while the cooldown actually decreases. And hitting opponent, I think I mentioned this, it actually deals 30 damage. So there's really not much to cover about Ninja. It's actually very short, they're very straightforward, high mobility, and how to play Blade Shift, how to cancel animation, that's it. There's nothing much to talk about Ninja. All that left is, it's a battle royale game. All that left comes down to your decision making. Thank you all so much. What do you personally think about Ninja? Do I leave out any other strategies that you think that I missed out, so leave it down in the comment section below. I'm Master Pendragon, and Ace, that's a gaming channel.